Better? That better? Shouldn't be on mute. My mic isn't muted. Can we hear me now? That's really weird because my mic wasn't on mute. Genuinely, my mic wasn't on mute. So that was weird. I had to go into the settings. But yeah, apologies. So sorry. My apologies. Start of the stream. I'll do that again. What is up, everybody? You are very welcome along to tonight's Late Night Agenda, where your weekend has officially begun. So what I was doing basically during my silent mumbling was answering the question somebody asked in the chat. Who's that in the photo with Craig in the show preview photo? It's Connor. It's the other half of the channel. So if anybody's never seen Connor, the gentleman taking the photo with me on the stage there, that is Mr. Connor Crosby. That was so freaky because genuinely my mic wasn't on mute, so I had to go in and tweak the settings there, but man, there you go. And here was me thinking, getting all cocky, thinking I had the mute turned off, but there we go. We are good to go. So yeah, maybe City did hack the mic, mate, Joshua, maybe. People have been trying to shut me up for a long time, so who knows, mate, who knows? Right, Sir Scotty, thank you, bro, for a long time being with us as a member as well. Appreciate you, Scotty. Scotty said, you'll never walk alone. Does anybody know who's top of the league? WFM, up the Reds and Arne Slot. I believe, Scotty, now my research isn't up to date, but I believe that would be Arne Slot's Tricky Reds, mate, who'd be top of the league and very deservedly so as well. I always love reading through some of your comments before we get started, and Till Sheen had a comment that's, look, it's a fair one. It's like, since when do we get Saturday night kickoffs? I know, it's mad, isn't it? But it's brilliant. I think we'll all agree. Saturday, 8 o'clock. I'm here for it. Can we have more of them, please? Premier League, and less of these 12:30 on a Saturday morning games, because it's brilliant. It's so unusual. Even when I said it to my wife, I said, look, I'm working tomorrow night. We're playing. And she's like, it's Saturday night. You don't play on Saturday night. So there you go. So look, we're going to go through tonight all the latest news. Now, I want to put something straight so anybody doesn't feel like annoyed or anything. What we're talking about with Salah being rewarded, it's not a contract offer. We don't know what's going on there. But Mohamed Salah did win the Player of the Month, so that's what we mean with the title. And I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that, because God, I wish I had a Mohamed Salah contract extension or anything. But no, it is that Mohamed Salah has been named Standard Chartered Player of the Month for October, and again, very well deserved for another great month. Arne didn't win Manager of the Month, by the way. In the Premier League, that was given to Nuno Espirito Santo. But yeah, there we go. Look, I wish it was a Salah contract. I mean, trust me, if I had news on that and a breakthrough, I would be letting you know about that. There'd be no hiding from it. I'd be just balls out telling you. So yeah, no, it isn't on that one. So just want to put that one in. That's ridiculous. I'm not sure what you mean is ridiculous, either the Nuno thing or... Look, it is what it is, I'm not really overly fussed on these awards. I'll take the points. And look, Nuno's had a great start to the season with Forest. I think we'll all say that. But yeah, I'm a little bit surprised maybe that aren't it. But then again, it's important to remember, we haven't played anybody. So maybe that's the reason why he didn't win it. Somebody said, how come Arne Slot is not the Manager of the Month? I know. It's mad to me that he hasn't won one yet. How do you have a team who's lost one game in the league and has since then has been nigh on perfect, and he still hasn't gotten it? So yeah, you're not the only one who was a little bit confused by it, but, congratulations to Nuno nonetheless. V. Aaron, thank you, bro. First super chat of the night, said, I had a thought. When I say that to my missus, she always goes, uh-oh. This pains me to say it, don't hate me, but maybe Slot isn't happy with Jota's injury record, so that's why we're looking at Marmoush. I'm not going to hate you, bro, because I don't know that that's why we're looking at Marmoush, but I could certainly say to you, right now, if I was Liverpool manager and I was looking to maybe bring somebody in, I think Diogo Jota is probably the most vulnerable at the minute. Now, we've had this conversation about Omar Marmoush quite a bit, and the interest is ramping up there. We spoke last night about the fact that it's us or Bayern Munich for him. That's what he wants. So if we are to look at Marmoush, somebody's going to have to move, whether that's Mohamed Salah not extending, Darwin maybe not doing what the manager wants him to, or something else. I can't see a way Liverpool look to bring in Marmoush without somebody moving on. And that's fair, because we don't need another forward. Let's be honest about it. We don't, unless somebody moves on. So I guess the tricky conversation is, who would that be? You know, if we can imagine for a second that Salah extends. You know, because if Salah doesn't extend, Marmoush, if Salah goes, everybody could understand the logic there. But if we don't, and Mo stays, then what's likely to happen if we're still looking at Marmoush? And I don't know the answer to it. But a lot of people are starting to wonder, you know, is Diogo Jota's lack of, I guess, consistency of availability perhaps an issue? It would have to be. You know, let's be grown-ups about this. We all love Diogo. We all know that when he's fit and available, he's a great asset to have. He scores goals. He's a really intelligent footballer. And there's a lot to like about him. But, and it's a big but, I believe it's now 104 games he's missed in 6 years for club and country. And now he's been out for, you know, another extended period. It looks like it's going to be a little bit longer still. Arne Slot today in his press conference was saying it'll be a week or two after the international break before Diogo gets back. And we'll talk about that a little bit as the stream goes on, because we have some notes from the press conference that we want to go through. It is a tough one because, look, if we don't lose a forward, I don't think we need Marmoush. If we don't lose one, I think that's a fair comment, right? We've got 6 forwards and Jayden Danns. So if we don't lose one, I really don't think we have a need to be going into the market. But if we are going into the market, you've got to figure out why. And it's either because we're preparing in case we can't extend with Mo, or maybe Liverpool have thoughts of moving somebody on. It has to be one of those two, because it doesn't make any sense to sign Marmoush and then have Marmoush, Salah, Gakpo, Diaz, Jota, Darwin, and Danns. You know, that'll be 7 for 3 positions. That's overkill. So I would imagine if we're looking at Marmoush, it has to be because we plan on losing somebody. Jota apparently back 2 weeks after the international break. So I'm going to read out exactly what Arne Slot said on Diogo Jota. He said, we expect him back after the break, the first weeks after the break. I always say there is privacy about the injury. He will be back 1 or 2 weeks after the break. That's cutting it close, because that means he's coming back right on the edge of the time we're playing Madrid and Manchester City. So a big period of the season where you would want to have as many people available. But even at that, he's not going to be ready to come straight in and start, is he? Because he's probably not going to be match fit at that point, so we'll probably see him have some minutes off the bench to build up. Chiesa is a fitness issue, not an injury. Exactly, Jack, and I'm glad you said that, mate, because we can't get these two things conflated, right? Federico Chiesa is just, it's taken him longer to get into the rhythm and the level of fitness that we need to be able to call upon him. So we don't yet know if there's any concerns moving on. It's just going to take some patience from us to wait for Chiesa to be at a level where Arne Slot feels comfortable enough that he can start reintroducing them again. Jamie Edwards, how are you, Jamie? Said, got to sort contracts out before January. The lure of the others offers, I will fear, will be too tempting. So yeah, look, I was really honest last night on the stream about my take on the Trent situation. And I even tried to explain this to Connor earlier on the phone as well about how I'm feeling. I want Trent to stay. That's the most important thing I want to put out there. I want Trent to stay. But I'm also running out of excuses for him. So, again, to really quickly summarise my position on Trent, it's, what are you waiting for now? Because Jurgen left, Trent needed to see who the manager was. Right, gotcha. Figured out it was Arne Slot. Trent needed to see what the manager's plans were. Grand, we figured that out. Trent needed to see, was the manager going to be able to make us competitive? I think we've got the answer to that. So as a fan, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, it's just down to Trent now. Trent needs to make up his mind and let the club know if he's staying or if he's going. So I think we're at a point now where there's no more excuses. Trent needs to front up and tell the club what his thoughts are. Because I don't understand what he needs to be talked into anymore. It's not going to be around length of contract with Trent, and I don't think it's going to be around money too much either. I think once the club get the nod that he's, convinced that he wants to stay and be part of it, they'll figure out the money and they'll figure out the contract. But we don't know yet. We don't know if he wants to be here. And that, the longer it drags on, I think is going to cause issues, because people are going to feel duped. People are going to feel pissed off. that Trent still hasn't said what he wants to do. We know Virgil wants to stay. We know Mo wants to stay. They've said as much. Be lovely to hear that from Trent. Trent wants to see what the offer from Real Madrid will be officially in January, but he could find that out already. You know, let's not be naive about this, Kyle. Trent can't talk to Real Madrid, but his representatives can. You know, so I think he'll know what the offer is going to be. Now, the question we talked about last night was, let's say for argument's sake, halfway through December, Trent tells the club he'd like to try another move. So he likes the idea of going to Madrid. Or anywhere else. Doesn't really matter where it is, to be honest. But my question to you is, if Trent was to inform the club that he wasn't going to sign a new deal, would you keep him till the end of the season? Or would you want to sell him in January, try to get a few quid in, and then plan for life after Trent? Now, I'm not saying I have the answer to that question, but for me, my feeling on it is, if I was in charge, if I was a coach, I wouldn't feel like I could fully depend on somebody whose mind is already elsewhere. You know, I know club and everybody has to say the right things, but we don't. We're fans, we can be honest. We don't have to look down a camera and say the right things to tick the boxes to make sure that the PR is fine and all. We can be honest. And we can say, I don't think he's going to be fully focused, because I don't think he'll be fully focused. Same way I don't think anybody. It's not just a Trent thing. If I knew I was going to another job in January and I was in a physical job, I wouldn't be putting my body on the line. I wouldn't be playing through a bit of pain or a niggling injury, because you're going to be one to be at your best for your new journey. So that's a question that I'm interested to see the answer on, because the reason I bring it up, by the way, is because Real Madrid want to sign a fullback in January. Carvajal's out, they need a fullback. So what do we do? You know, if he stays, this is a moot point. This is absolutely fine. Trent signs a new deal. Everyone's happy. But if he tells the club he wants to go, what do? Do you sell him in January? So I'm going to ask you that question tonight for the first poll. Let me just get this written up. Oh, I didn't even write it out. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, folks. Okay, so question is, if Trent wants to leave, do we sell in January? I think it was a different poll yesterday. I think I was different. I think yesterday I asked people what they think, whether Trent was worth 300 grand a week. That was yesterday's poll. So it is a different one. Yesterday was Trent worth £300,000 a week? And 54% said yes, 46% said no. You're right. He needs to make his intentions clear and quickly. If he decides to leave, the club have to start looking for a proper replacement. Sooner is better. That's my point. Like, if Trent says he wants to stay, this is all an easy conversation. Trent stays, everyone's happy. But, you know, if. So, we'll leave that running in the background anyway, and I'll continue on with some more of the news topics. Was there somebody new in? I think somebody, where is a Book? Book, welcome in, mate. Welcome in. Anybody that's new, by the way, in the chat, welcome in. It's lovely to have you with us. So, some of the news stories from today. Let's go through them together then. We spoke about that yesterday. By the way, well done to the city of Liverpool. I want to just say a massive, massive well done. Most people probably know this, but just in case you don't, Zoe's Place, which is a hospice in Liverpool for sick children at the end of life care, was in urgent need of raising, I think, over £5 million, and had 30 days to do so. And the city of Liverpool does what the city of Liverpool always does, which is come together and make shit happen. And an MP from Liverpool today said that the money has been raised, Zoe's Place is going to be saved, and I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, And everybody else is well done. Well done to the city of Liverpool. Well done to everybody that rallied around to raise the money. Well done to everyone that made the donations. Well done. Just want to say that. It's great news that it's going to be saved. And well done to everybody that came together to try and help out. It is again, testament to the people of the city of Liverpool. So, some stats on Gravenberch for you that were interesting that came about earlier on. He has shown himself to be one of the best number 6s, we know that. But his stats, by the way, his stats are showing us to be one of the best midfielders in Europe at the minute. That is how good Ryan Gravenberch has started this season with Liverpool. So again, well done to Ryan and a fantastic start to the season. His 90 ball carries grade, he's rated at 90.2. That ranks first among players in the Premier League, and he's also received 86 line breaking passes this season, ranking second amongst all players. So again, just well done to Ryan Gravenberch. Who do you think we will lose our next game to? I don't know, David, mate. I haven't got a clue. I don't want to think about losing. Don't want to think about losing at all, David. I want to just think about us going on a glorious, never-ending winning streak, mate. Ryan has been stellar this year, said Kyle. He's been brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. So, again, some more stuff for you guys who may not have seen Arne Slot's press conference earlier on. He was speaking about Curtis Jones, and this is what he had to say. And you know what? I think he's been listening to all of us here on Anfield Agenda. I think that Arne Slot's been seeing what you guys in the chat have been writing and hearing to us, because this might sound a little familiar to you. He said, with Curtis, it's not me who did it. He became a father. I had nothing to do with that, said Arne. I should bloody well hope not, Arne. He went on to say, he became a father and started putting in great performances. Pre-season, I saw he was a quality player. Then performances dropped a little bit, but since becoming a father, it tells you a lot about the quality of the team. It's a result of individual performances. In Curtis' situation, being a parent helps those performances. He kept going on to say, what makes him such a good player? He has qualities on the ball. He's never afraid to do something special. Sometimes a little bit too overconfident, but it's an important tool, and he combines this at the moment and a longer period with an incredibly hard work rate. We can trust him defensively. We saw how we handled Cole Palmer. Now for him, it's about consistency because we know he has quality. The best players in the world show up every 3 days, so that is the challenge for Curtis Jones. So good to get confirmation there, by the way, that Arne Slot had nothing to do with Curtis Jones' baby. That's very comforting to know, by the way. But again, you know, we've been saying this, all of us, not me now, by the way, all of us in the channel have been saying this, that fatherhood is suiting Curtis Jones, and long may that continue. Mark, thank you, bro, for gifting a membership. Very kind of you. And again, much love to Mark and our team of moderators as well. Rusba, always lovely to see you in, my friend. Rusba said, in recent years, no Liverpool player who went elsewhere could achieve similar or higher levels of success. Coutinho, Gini Wijnaldum, Sadio Mane, Fabinho and Hendo. There is no guarantee that Trent is different. So, what I would say is, one, I agree with that, by the way, Bruce, I agree with what you said. But also, he wants to win things. That's what he said. Well, we're on track to do that. So, we can win stuff. If you ask people right now, who's more likely in the Champions League this season, between us and Real Madrid, I wouldn't say there's too much in the difference. Some people might tip Real Madrid. Some people might say Liverpool are in a better place at the minute. So I don't see how he's not going to be satisfied professionally at Liverpool. And that makes me feel like, is it about the money? And if it's about the money, look, that's also cool. He's every right to ask for as much as he wants. But what I don't want to hear happen is that there's one price for him to stay at Liverpool and there's another price that maybe he'll go to Real Madrid for. We're not going to pay him. Real Madrid aren't going to pay him more than we're going to pay him. I just don't see that being the case. So, yeah, I'm just getting frustrated with it. In all honesty, I am, because I'm running out of patience. I'm running out of patience at what does he need to be convinced. I don't see what else the club can do, the team can do, the manager can do. It's on Trent now to just say, I want to be here. And that's what we're all wanting. We're all wanting Trent to come out in an interview and go, I want to be here. I want to stay at Liverpool. I want to win things at Liverpool. I want to be captain of Liverpool. I want to be here. So until we hear that, I think rightly, we're all a little bit freaked out. Because why aren't we hearing that? Why aren't we hearing that? And again, if you couple that with the stuff we spoke about from the likes of Danny Murphy saying he thinks Trent's off, I think maybe a few of the lads on Sky Sports intimated that they're kind of hearing that thing as well. Paddy Pimblett speaking about the buzz around the city, feels like Trent is off. If he is off, I don't think dragging it out is going to help his situation. I don't. I think the more it goes on, the more people are going to feel a little bit pissed off. Because unlike Mohamed Salah and Virgil, the situation isn't really just on Mo and Virgil. There is some things for the club to consider about length of contract, their ages, and will there be a drop-off. They don't have those. So with Trent, it's all on him. He needs to make the decision. Virgil and Mo, we all think, want to stay, but there's a difficult negotiation about length of contract and stuff. So I think the three situations are somewhat different in that Trent, it's just all down to him giving the club the nod he wants to be here. And I wish he'd just do it. I really, really wish he'd just do it, because it would just solve a lot of headaches for everybody. Ash said if Trent leaves, he wouldn't be held anywhere near the same regard as Gerrard and Carragher. No, he wouldn't. But let me say this as well. If Trent does decide to leave, it's going to hurt. It's going to sting. But I would certainly hope we don't see any vitriolic, abusive stuff towards him, because he doesn't deserve that. You know, we've got to take this from a human perspective. This is one man's career. He gets one career. He's perfectly within his rights to figure out what he wants to do. I don't think anybody is questioning that. And I certainly don't want Trent being abused or getting shitty pushback or anything. But I do feel the longer it goes on, resentment is going to grow naturally, because people are getting freaked out and not hearing that he wants to be here. So I would say I don't think it's anyone's interest to drag this shit out. I just don't. Whatever it is, rip that band-aid off. David said, will you do me a favour and keep the Premier League table on screen? I smile every time I see it. Well, hopefully, mate, it's going to remain somewhat like that for the rest of the season. Right, more stuff to go through, by the way, because good news, more good news around Mohamed Salah, by the way. So we gave you the good news that Mohamed Salah has been voted the Standard Chartered Player of the Month for October. Congratulations to Mo on that. But the good news around Mo keeps coming. It's been confirmed the Egyptian national team, led by Hossam Hassan, have decided to exempt Mohamed Salah from participating in the upcoming November international camp, meaning Mo gets to rest. So we can play Mo against Aston Villa, and then we know that Mohamed Salah can remain on Merseyside with Arne Slot, with the club, with his family, maybe get a few days off and prepare for what's going to be a busy, busy part of the season. That is amazing news. Amazing news. Not to lose Mo to another international break. Honestly, lads, I'm really excited about this, because it gives him a breather, a mid-season breather. Yes, so thank you to the Egyptian national team, first and foremost, for giving him that exemption, because I think it's going to benefit us hugely, having Mo fresh for that, end of November, December period. It's going to be brilliant. So, yes. Well done. Great news. If he said he wants to go now, our fans turn on him, so he's not going to say anything. Right, well, what do you think happens if he doesn't say anything and we get through January and then it starts leaking out in the papers that he's talking with Madrid? People aren't stupid, mate. I get where you're coming from, but people aren't stupid. It's not going to take a lot for him to say, I want to be here. So, I think honesty is always the best policy, and being upfront with these things are always the best policy. I think dragging it out is only going to be worse. Personally, that's just my reading of the situation. Respectfully, they sometimes are. I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you mean respectfully, they're sometimes abusive. Absolutely, mate. There are assholes in every fan base, and that certainly includes ours. So I'm not trying to say that come what may, there won't be some abusive stuff. I just, I don't want to be encouraging it, because I don't want it to happen to Trent. Benedict said, I respect you, Craig. Keep going. I love your channel. Positive vibes will blow 100%. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Really do. Appreciate that. There was something I was going to say, and it was about the channel, but I've drawn a blank, mate, so I'm going to move on. So, remember, we're now just 1 week away. This time next week, we will be on stage in Liverpool. So if you want to come and see us, you can get your tickets with a link at the top of the chat. I can't wait. Only 1 week to go. So, did anybody else see as well, by the way? There was a new face with Liverpool training today. Riel Nyamoha was training with the first team. And again, my apologies on the pronunciation of his surname. But yes, Riel was there training with the boys in the first team today. And it caused a lot of excitement amongst the Liverpool fan base to see the youngster there training with the first team. Mark, thank you again, mate, for gifting another membership. That's incredibly kind of you. Imagine if Madrid are able to get Alphonso Davies and Trent for free, having got Mbappe this season for free too. They won't be for free, though. I know what you're saying, Ash. Transfer fee-wise, they are. But Mbappe got 100 million signing on bonus at Real Madrid, and then got his wages. Alphonso Davies, whether he goes to Manchester United or Real Madrid, will probably get a big signing on bonus as well. Same with any other player leaving on a free. The reason that they go on the free is because they get that money. You know, they will get that signing on bonus. They will get some of a transfer fee, you know. So you won't get these guys for free, but certainly there's no transfer fee there. Is it possible to sign Baleba? Yes. It's possible. We spoke about Carlos Baleba. He's only there, I think, a year now at Brighton. I think they signed him, if my memory's right, for about 21 or 22 million from France. And there has been links to not just us, but Arsenal and a couple of other clubs with Carlos Baleba. So, yeah, keep an eye on it. Ah, okay. So, Mark's just said the reason that this game against Aston Villa is at 8 o'clock on Saturday is because the club being in the Champions League, it was originally meant to be a 12:30 kickoff, but because I think Aston Villa were away on the Wednesday night, they had to kick it forward to 8 o'clock, which is great. So, yeah, I mean, so it would have been a 12:30 on Saturday, so TNT would have had us with the early one, but because they were away in Europe against Club Brugge, where they lost 1-0, by the way, that's the reason why. Thank you, Mark. I was wondering, because God almighty, I'd love an 8 o'clock Saturday kickoff every week. Craig, isn't your wife a Forest fan? If so, how's she feeling? She is, David, yes. And how's she feeling? She's happy about it, but, like, she's a very fair weather fan. Let me say that, you know. She's only a Forest fan because she grew up and spent a lot of time in Nottingham with her scout troop and family friends over there. And, you know, I think there was a scout jamboree in Nottingham that they went over to quite a bit. And she's been in and around the city ground. So I say fan loosely. But yes, she would be a Forest fan if you want to say that. Will I marry you? I don't think I'm allowed. I don't think bigamy's allowed, mate. I have a wife and I don't think I'm allowed to have multiple spouses. So I'm going to have to kindly refuse your offer. Haven't we played away in Europe and then had to play an early kickoff on a Saturday? I think it's a new thing, Ash, that's been brought in. I think it was a new thing introduced this season, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, of course, mate, it has happened to us before. But look, let's not complain about it. It's a good thing. Jason, thank you, mate. 11 months as a member, Jason's Reds Army. Thank you, mate. And Jason said, I hope Trent, VVD and Salah all sign new contracts soon. I would hate if he goes to Real Madrid and it won't be the same at Liverpool. Look, yes, I want him to stay. We all want him to stay. I think we can take that as a given, that Liverpool fans want him to stay. I just, you know, again, I'm going to ask, why is this taking so long? And again, I think this situation is different because this is on Trent. He will make the call about what happens, whether he stays or goes. To some extent, Mo and Virgil will be in the same boat, but there's also, the club have to evaluate length of contracts and stuff for those boys. So it's a little bit different. With Trent, the ball is very firmly in his court about what happens with his career. It's on Sky. I think it's on TNT. tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's an 8 o'clock kickoff on TNT Sport tomorrow. CD Sava said, I hope Salah gets tied down during the international break. Well, it gives us a good opportunity, doesn't it? You know, he isn't going to be away. So there is going to be a bit of time there for Mohamed Salah, Rami Abbas Issa to sit down with the club maybe and hopefully thrash out a contract extension. So, yeah, another benefit, I guess, of Mo not being called up on the international duty in November. Finty Tin, how are you, bro? Better an 8 p.m. Saturday kickoff than at lunchtime. For me, way better. You know, I hate 12:30. And we've got a game against Everton coming up after the international break, a few weeks after it, with a 12:30 Saturday kickoff. So, yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing that it's the 8 p.m. one. Morton said, I wonder who Arsenal will blame if they drop points this weekend. Do you know what? There's so many people talking about Arsenal's fan base that I think it's not a joke anymore. Like, I don't pay attention to Arsenal fan content too much. Occasionally I drop in on my mate Lee Gunner and look at some of his stuff, but I don't watch AFTV and I don't keep track of other Arsenal fans. So, are they really that bad? Like, nobody likes to lose. And sometimes, yeah, you blame the referee. And sometimes, yeah, you think something went against you. But from what I'm hearing from people who watch a lot of social media or are on social media a lot, is that every week that they drop a point or don't win, it's never because they didn't play well. It's always because they got shafted somewhere. Is that really true? Because if that's true, it's... I was going to say it's petty, but it's not. It's unsporting more than anything. Because these were the same fan base who, a lot of them wanted the league null and voided just to fuck us out of a league title. And look, I occasionally blame a referee. I occasionally blame a decision that I don't like. But I've also come on here and credited opposition and said we're beaten by the better team. Sometimes you just got to do that. So I don't know what to cry arson about, in all honesty. Like, it's their own players picking up the stupid red cards and stuff. So, you know, a bit of grace and a bit of class sometimes amongst these things doesn't go amiss. Because remember, it is sport at the end of the day. You're going to lose sometimes, and it's, you know, how you conduct yourself when you do that. So, Zevon said, yes, they are. They're blaming the Champions League format now. What? How are they blaming? Like, the Champions League format has nothing to do with it. Like, even if they were playing in the league phase and the old one, they'd still be playing the same feckin' games. Like, I know there's more, by the way, but we're 4 games into it now. They'd be 4 games into a 4-team group if this was the case. Jesus Christ. Look, I just don't get it. I don't get it. It seems petty, you know. There is certainly a sense of inflated importance in some of the, like, they're very arrogant for a fan base that hasn't really, and again, I'm not trying to say all Arsenal fans here, but the ones that I see are shown feel very arrogant for a fucking club that's won next to nothing in recent times. Like, I'd pull up a Liverpool fan if they were saying, oh, we're definitely winning the league and we're definitely I'd go, relax mate, calm down, like, we don't need to be this arrogant. AFTV moaning you don't get a chance for revenge if you lose. You do. You get a chance to play the next game and pick up 3 points. It's... I don't know. I don't fucking know. Like, who cares if you get a chance for revenge or not? You play 4 games at home, 4 games away. Win your games. Look, I get it. I said the other night after we beat Leverkusen 4-0, it must feel a bit weird that they don't get to reverse that. I get it. We're all getting used to it. But it's not the reason why you lost. Do you think Arsenal's out of the title race? No, not yet. Look, this is the weekend for me that I think it will decide if Arsenal are really going to be contenders. Because we've got Manchester City Brighton, 5:30 tomorrow. So we'll know the result of that game before we kick off. Now, let's say City win. And then we play Aston Villa. If we beat Aston Villa, then the pressure on Arsenal to beat Chelsea on Sunday is massive, because if they don't, then minimum 9-point gap, potentially a 10-point gap with us, and a 9-point gap with City. You might say they'll claw us in, but they're not clawing in both of us and overturning those points deficits. So I think this weekend, if they don't beat Chelsea and both us and Manchester City win, I think the conversation around Arsenal needs to stop about title contenders and just let them go about their business, because you can't win a league title this early in the season, and people might say you can't lose it, but you can. You can. It's a lot of ground to catch up on. So yeah, for me, if they don't beat Chelsea and us and City win, I'm basically giving the last rites to their title hopes for the season, because I don't see it. I think Arsenal secretly want to be us. Just remember when Arteta played, "You'll never walk alone" during training. I used to like Arsenal fans. You know, I don't like, when I was growing up, Arsenal fans didn't feel this entitled. They just felt like decent fans who wanted their team to do well. But, you know, there's something to be said about just accepting a defeat sometimes, and just a bit of fucking good grace and sportsmanship. But then again, I guess that doesn't get clicks. But we play Newcastle away at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday. How do we get the early kickoff against Everton on Saturday next month? Because that's not Champions League, mate. You know, we were talking about the Champions League travelling away games. So you're in Europe, having to fly back late on a Wednesday. You know, it's different just going up to play Newcastle in the league. That's not the same thing. Nice to see Rio training with the first team today, said Stevie Kirkman. Yes, I'm sure that was a big boost for him. And, you know, I would say to Liverpool fans, you know, don't get too carried away about it. You know, Rio has a lot of developing still to do, but certainly if he's gotten the nod to start training with the first team, then, you know, the club are very happy with his progression so far. They're blaming where they are in the Prem on the Odegaard injury. Look, I can understand. I can understand fans of a football club feeling like injuries are shafting them. Of course. But what I don't accept, and what I will refuse to just say nothing about, is you're not the only team with injuries. Like, Arsenal blaming Odegaard injury. Well, City have no Rodri. They've had no De Bruyne. We've had no Alisson. We've had no Jota. We've had no Chiesa. We've had a midfielder missing for a while. We've had injuries to Conor Bradley at right back. So we've had injuries as well, but we're still top of the fucking league. So, yeah, I mean, one injury to one player, we're missing the best goalkeeper in the world. And you didn't hear this, by the way, in the build-up to the game against Arsenal, either from their fans or in the media. It was all about Arsenal's injury crisis and, oh, Arsenal don't have Saliba. Well, they didn't have Saliba because he got sent off. Not because he was injured or because anyone did that to him. He messed up his availability. So, yeah, and yes, no Elliott. So, like, we've 5 out. I don't see anyone talking about our injury crisis because of how well Arne Slot and the players have adapted. And that's, again, speaks to the calibre of the coaching and the calibre of the players we have at the club. Arsenal have spent a shitload of money. You know, they've brought in Declan Rice. They've got Mikel Merino that they've brought in. They've got decent options. You know, they've got Raheem Sterling they brought in. It's not like they're short of talent or options. So, tough shit. Sorry, but tough shit. That is just tough. You know, that's part and parcel of a league. I don't remember anybody showing us any sympathy when we had no Virgil van Dijk, as an example, because Pickford went to town on his knee. So, yeah, tough titties Turkleton. I heard Van Dijk will sign a 2-year contract. Nobody knows, mate. Nobody knows. I hope, look, that'd be great. But I just want to say, I don't know of that. There's been some spoofers on social media lying to Liverpool fans saying that this is going to happen or that's going to happen. I'm not aware of any confirmation on it yet. But look, if that is the case, I'd be over the moon. 2-year contract extension, absolutely grand. What's the worst refereeing decision so far this season? For me, it's Darwin shouldering a fella off the ball and the ref blew for a foul at the end of the Chelsea game. Nah, I'm sure there's been worse ones than that, mate. The penalty against United was a bit of a shambles. Do you remember the one that VAR came in for? That was a bit of a shambles, if I'm being honest with you. I'm going to say that one of the worst ones for me was that cowardly little... I'm going to bite my tongue here. They call him the butcher. I call him a bitch. Because Lisandro Martinez is nothing but a little thug. And his tackle on Cole Palmer was a shithouse challenge. So for me, him not getting suspended and a red card for that is one of the worst ones. Because we've all seen those challenges before from him. They like to think he's a little hard man. I think he's a little coward, to be honest with you. Because he's doing these things to injure players. Not to get... Anybody can go up and kick somebody, you know? But that, to me, I just... Shithouse. Anyone who's ever played the game as well knows. Those type of challenges, or raking your studs down the Achilles of somebody, they're just sick. Do you think we need Ederson? Said Tijas. We need a midfielder. You know, it's not for me to say who the perfect fit is for the club. I still don't believe the Arlie and Zubimendi stuff, and I'll talk about that in a while. There was Corriere dello Sport, I think it was, who said Liverpool have been negotiating for Ederson from Atalanta for months. Again, I don't know that to be the case, but, you know, I just want us to get a midfielder. And one that Arne Slot wants to bring in. Whomever that is, look, we as fans will get behind, but we just want that position filled because we all just want to have every opportunity to be successful this season. And if we can add that midfielder, brilliant. Do you know when Harvey will be fit? So I think it's just a case of getting him back up to fitness at this point. He's starting to do stuff in the gym. I think he's starting to do a little bit of running. So again, you're talking the other side of the international break, but exactly how soon that will be, you know, it shouldn't be too long, to be fair. It shouldn't be. Jones got a red for less. I know. And look, anybody who's played the game knows what I mean about that challenge from Martinez. It was just cowardly. That's the only word I can say. It's a shithouse challenge. Do you agree with Jamie that Arsenal are becoming like a Jose team? I totally understand where Jamie Carragher's coming from on that one. Because under Pep Guardiola or under Jurgen Klopp, we wouldn't sit back. And City wouldn't sit back on a lead. We might keep the ball. We might, you know, be a little bit more rigid, a little bit less committed to go forward. But some of Arsenal's tactics are very, very, very negative. You know, 15 minutes to go and they're running to the corner flag against us at home. So yeah, I absolutely understand where Carragher's coming from on it because even Bernardo Silva said when they played Arsenal, they felt like Arsenal just didn't want to lose. But when they play us, we come to win and we try to win. So yeah, maybe that negativity. And look, I also understand it because I remember what the pressure was like when we hadn't won a league for 30 years. And I remember the relief of Jurgen getting over the line and getting that monkey off our back. So I understand that there's pressure on Arteta's shoulders, and he's at a point in his career at Arsenal now where fans are starting to say, well, look, you've been backed in the market. Yes, you're progressing us, but trophies need to come. So the pressure on him to get over the line and win the league, I'm sure, is massive. And I'm just glad we don't have that same pressure because we've had some recent success in the Premier League. So I get it. I get the temptation to revert to that negativity. But I guess in these situations, you've got to remember what got you to where you are. What style of football got you to that position. And Arsenal, when they play, are good to watch. You know, when they're attacking and they're going for it. You know, they're a very good football team. But yeah, I do understand where he's coming from with the negative stuff on Mourinho. Is Maka out for this game? No, he's available, mate. He's available. Nessie, how are you? Nessie said, hey Craig, joined late. Any news about contracts? Personally, I don't have any, Nessie. The next time I'll be speaking with David will be Monday. So I'll certainly be asking him then. But at this moment in time, I'm not aware of any breakthroughs or any updates with regards to the three main contracts. Now, There was some conversation around one contract extension, and I'm going to move on to talk about that in a second. Just trying to find my notes on it. So, here it is. Thank you. Right, so there is talk of a contract extension that Liverpool are looking at, and it's taken me by surprise. So I'm going to read this out to you. Another player who's moving towards the end of his contract, even though he's still less than 2 years on his deal, is Andy Robertson. And according to Football Insider, Liverpool are ready to open contract talks with Andy Robertson about an extension. The Reds are ready to initiate talks with the left-back because they do not want to repeat the situation they faced with Salah, Trent and Virgil. Robbo's been one of the best players of the club during the successful period under manager Jurgen Klopp. I'm a bit confused on this one, to be honest with you, because let's just look at Andy Robertson's situation right now. He's probably at this particular moment there or thereabouts with Costas. It's 50-50 who's the starter. And we're wondering already, is Father Time catching up at Robbo? Is he starting to pick up more injuries? Have we seen the best of Andy Robertson? That Energizer Bunny who gets up and down the flank all day. If there's any doubts about that, I don't see why the club are looking to extend somebody who has 2 years to go already. It's not like Robbo's young or in his mid-20s. I don't know about this one. I don't know if I would be looking at... I'd probably want another... I probably want to look at him, how he gets on for the rest of the season before I'd even look at the idea of a new contract, because, you know, if his form stays down or if he picks up another injury, I don't know. I wouldn't be rushing to give him a new contract at the moment. I've got to be honest, I wouldn't. Can we talk about Maka? In what sense? Happy to, but I don't know what you want me to talk about with him. What trophies is Liverpool winning? I don't know, mate. I haven't got a clue. How can I sit here and predict what we are going to win? We're in the quarter-final of the League Cup, and I fancy us to get to the semis. So, coin toss there on that one. We don't know the FA Cup yet, because the draw, of course, hasn't been made because they're still playing the earlier rounds. Champions League, we're looking good to get through to the knockout stages, but let's see what happens there. Ever been to Waterford City? Of course, yes. It's only about an hour and a bit's drive away, mate. Been to Waterford plenty of times. We need leaders amongst the squad, Craigo. Over the years, they've guided us to domestic success outside the Premier League. So, is this in relation to Robbo? Look, I'm not against leaders, but 2 more years. What age is Robbo now? 30, 31? So in 2 more years, we're talking about a 33-year-old fullback. And then if the club extend him, that's going to be bringing him into what? 34, 35? See where I'm going with it? If we've concerns now about his fitness and his ability to be able to continuously deliver what he has done up to this point, I just don't see why he'd be rushing to put a new contract out. I just don't. Luke said, I'm excited to see the giant Georgian between the sticks next season. 6'6". Yeah, he's a big dude. Big dude. The whole goalkeeping situation fascinates me at the minute, because I really don't know how this goalkeeping department is going to shape up next season, because we cannot keep Alisson, Kelleher and Mamardashvili. That would just be... Well, that'd be unfair to one of them, to be honest. So I'm interested to see how this shakes up. Is it Kelleher that's going to leave? Probably, but let's wait and see. Do you think the Ederson links are legit? I'd be surprised, because, again, the profile of midfielder has changed since Jurgen has left, because who we need is, well, different stylistically. So I would love Ederson. I'm a big fan, but I'd be surprised if those links are true. I don't believe them to be, nor do I believe the Ireland Zubimendi links to be true, but again, let's wait and see. I've not seen anybody on the English side give any credence to the Tchouaméni or to the Ederson things. I've not seen David Lynch, Paul Joyce, James Pearce, David Ornstein, Chris Bascom, any of them. Any of the lads from the Echo. I've not seen any of them say that they believe Liverpool are interested or are looking at these guys. So until I get some acknowledgement from those lads, no. I'm just going to say I think it's just paper talk. Kyle said, crazy to have 4 great keepers. So can I be really honest here without getting shot down? Remember, this is just me being honest. If I was Liverpool Football Club and I was looking at the goalkeeping situation, I can't believe I'm about to say this, I'd be starting to look at selling Alisson if I was Liverpool. Let me explain why before you jump down my throat, by the way. I love Alisson. But we have a young keeper in 24 coming in. We've got a goalkeeper who's 25 right now who's doing great stuff. And then we've got Alisson who's 30, 31, starting to pick up a few more little muscle injuries that are maybe going to be a bit more persistent. There's talk that in a year or so he may be headed to Saudi. So I'm thinking, what is the best way to safeguard the goalkeeping situation for the next 5-6 years? And to me, that's keeping the 25-year-old and the 24-year-old good goalkeepers. Letting them do battle and letting one of them become the number one, maybe in one competition or vice versa. Again, it's future-proofing because you've got younger keepers who are really, really good. Now, that being said, goalkeepers can play till they're 36, 37, 38. So it's not like Alisson's old. But, you know, that's the way I would look at the situation right now. Think you can box off this position for 6 or 7 years if you keep Kelleher and Mamardashvili. And it's not an easy thing to say because I've said so many times, I think Alisson's the best goalkeeper in the world. He's 32. So Ali's 32. And we may lose him in a year anyway because there's been a lot of talk that maybe in a year's time he'll move on. Then you will have lost, let's say, Kelleher, and then Ali moves on, and then you've got Mamardashvili and maybe Arosh or... So yeah, look, I'm sure the club will have it at hand, and I'm sure the club will figure it all out, but it is it's going to be an interesting situation to see how the club evolve with it. Kelleher wants to play regularly. I know, but why can't he play regularly as our number one? Or, you know, we've seen he can do it. You know, one of the biggest compliments we can give Queevy and Kelleher right now is that we're not talking about missing Alisson every day of the week. Which, if Adrian was in goal right now, I'd be counting the minutes, the seconds, until we got him back. Where would Alisson go if he goes? There's been a lot of talk about him going to Saudi. A lot of talk. I think he's again speaking about the amount of money some of those guys are making over there. And, you know, I don't know. No way we should sell anyone in January, said Antoango. Again, context is needed for that conversation, mate. Personally, I don't want a player whose future is not the club. And I can go back, mate. I've said this season after season. I said this all this. This is not a new thing or a trend thing with me. I've always said, if I know somebody is leaving at the end of the campaign and their head and their heart and their mind are going to be elsewhere, I don't want that person around. I don't want the distraction. I don't want the ball ache of having to deal with it. You're not getting commitment from that player. So I think that's me being honest. You know, that's what I would be like if I was in charge here. If Trent says he wants to stay, get that contract in front of the man, sign it, brilliant, let's move on. If Trent says he wants to go to Real Madrid at the end of the season, then I'm thinking, will we see the best version of Trent for the rest of the campaign? And I think human nature is such that we won't. I just do. Yeah. Right, so here's one. If Trent wants to leave Liverpool, should we sell in January? 74% have said yes, sell in January if he wants to leave. I've no idea, by the way, what that January transfer fee might look like. I haven't got a clue how you even start to figure out this valuation. But I think you've given the right answer. because that's the answer that I would give as well. If he wants to stay, brilliant. Welcome back. Stay at the club. We hope you retire here. Brilliant. But again, if the example is, I don't want to stay, I don't want to commit, now look, maybe other people think, well look, we need longer to figure out what happens if Trent goes. So if Trent says, I'm leaving at the end of the season, then maybe you gradually start to bring in Bradley as the season goes on, bit by bit by bit, and maybe you're a bit more measured about it, and maybe you're preparing for next season. I can totally understand and appreciate anybody on that side of this conversation as well. What I just refuse to believe is that any human being is going to give 100% if their future's elsewhere. And I know people are going to say professionalism, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Quite frankly, I don't. I know human nature. And nobody is playing through a pain barrier or putting their body on the line if they know their future's elsewhere. It's just human nature, and nothing will change my mind on that. Adam, how are you, bro? Said, I see young Rio trained with the first team today, according to Romano. Well, he did. He did, absolutely. There's photos of it, so yeah, he is with the first team. Ireland losing 18-13 at the minute. Thank you. It was 3-3 just as I was starting the stream, so keep me up to date on that one. What a game, by the way. Friday night, Ireland-New Zealand. Chris Adams, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, Chris. Appreciate you. So, I'm trying to word something without... Sorry, bear with me a second. I'm going to bring up this super chat, actually. The Pog said, selling Alisson would be a big mistake. 32 isn't old. Okay, let me pitch it to you a different way. And by the way, I love Alisson. I'm just saying, looking at the goalkeeper situation at the end of this season, we're going to have Kelleher, Alisson, Mamardashvili and Yarosh. And let's say we sell Kelleher for 35 million quid and he goes wherever he goes. And then we go through next season and then we sell Alisson at the end of next season. What do we do then? Because I'm not the only one that's hearing and talking about him maybe moving in a year or so. It's been spoken about quite a bit. So what I just don't want to see us do is shoot ourselves in the foot and take what is a very good goalkeeping department with lots of options and end up making a mess of it. So if Alisson is saying to the club, no, my future's here for the next 3, 4, 5 years, then that's a different conversation. What I'm basically trying to say in a long-winded arse way here is we've got a great goalkeeping department and any permutation of it is great with me as long as we keep 2 of them. But again, look, I'm not advocating to sell Alisson, but I just don't want us to look short-term in our decision-making about the goalkeeping department, which I don't think the club will, in all fairness. Oh, 13-23 now, and I guess probably with another 2 points to go on top of that. So, yeah, not a great night so far then in that regard. Who would people want Liverpool to sign as a new right back if Trent goes, either as the starter or the backup? I don't have a clue. I would imagine Bradley is going to be the successor. So who you bring in then as a right back, backup? I don't know. If Calvin Ramsey has a great season and starts to show what he's about, does he become the young backup then to Conor Bradley? Everybody's saying Frimpong, but you're missing one really important fact here. He wouldn't suit the way we play. Look at Trent now and the way he plays. He's less attack-minded than he was under Jurgen because of the balance that Arne Slot wants. I don't think Frimpong is in any way the right type of right back because he's basically a winger or an auxiliary winger. So I don't think Frimpong works for us in the way we currently play. So I don't think we'd get the best out of him. So for me, Frimpong would be a no. Under Jurgen, maybe differently, but under Arne, I don't think Frimpong is the right one. The Paul G said, Kelleher gone, Alisson stays, new guy understudy. Cool. Yeah. Look, I can see that, mate, but I'm just going to... If I'm the new guy, I'm thinking, understudy my arse. I'm coming in for that number 1 shirt. And I'm going to prove that it's mine. I want to get the chance I'm going to take it. But that's good. That's competition. That's what we want. See, Frimpong is the type of mistake United would make in our position. Do you know what I mean? Going for a name. Somebody that has great numbers going forward and stuff, but doesn't suit the way that the system is. That's one thing I will say, to our credit, we don't really do. You know, we bring in players that work for the system, the way we play, and I don't see Frimpong as being the right fit for that personally. Reece James? Oh, come on now. Come on. We can't be signing Reece James. Imagine every week he'd be sweating on his fitness. Every week. No. Craig, I missed the beginning of the stream. What did Salah get? He got Player of the Month for October. Standard Chartered Player of the Month for October. And he's also been given the go-ahead to skip this international window with Egypt. So not only has he got another accolade, another trophy for the mantelpiece, but he's also got a bit of time to rest up and maybe negotiate a contract extension over this international break. So, yeah. Kadioglu from Brighton said Garrett Reid. Well, he impressed against us, mate. And what a goal he scored as well. That strike Kadioglu hit was top notch. The one that went in off the post when we played Brighton. Other than that, though, I got to be honest, mate, I don't know much about him. I haven't watched much of Kadioglu. I wouldn't have a clue. Well, Amarim and 3 at the back, Frimpong could be good for them. Yeah. Ironically, yes, Frimpong would suit Manchester United system, definitely. Do you think Alisson would be humble enough to be a backup for Mamardashvili, or would he want to leave if he doesn't get a starting position? I can't speak for Alisson, but if I was him, nah, I'm not regressing at 32 to be a backup keeper when you could go elsewhere and become number 1. So no, I think Alisson, if he stays, his mindset is, I'm the best in the world, and he is, and I stay here and I'm the number 1. So yeah, look, whatever happens, I think we're in a great position for the goalkeeper department. The club have done fantastically well to bring in Mamardashvili. Caoimhín Kelleher has done fantastically well to just make us not miss Alisson. And it's not an easy sentence to say that, because of course you miss him, but Kelleher has been so good that we haven't noticed the drop off, is probably the fairest way of saying it. Adam Brown, how are you, mate? Let me get your comment up here, Adam. Adam said, I'd rather eat broccoli than sign Reece James. I just think signing Reece James would be like signing Thiago multiplied by 50. It would just be a massive headache. Frozen, thank you, mate, for being with us as an Anfield Agenda Ultra member for 6 months, by the way, mate. Appreciate you. Said, hope you're well, even looking good in grey. Can't wait to see how Elliot will improve us under slot like most of the others did. The best is yet to come. So do you remember I said to you guys a minute ago, I was just trying to word something in my head? Right. So Sabrina sat me down yesterday and said to me, why are you leaving in May? And I explained to her, and I said, look, I thought the hate was behind me, but I went down the rabbit hole and I ended up looking on, not LinkedIn, I looking on Reddit, and I seen some stuff and I showed her the stuff that I was reading. And she said to me, well, then why are you quitting? And I said, because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of feeling like I'm being lied about non-stop. And, and then she said to me, well, do you think it's a lot of people, or do you think it's a small amount of people? And I said, I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that there's one consistent group of people who pop up everywhere. So on Size channel, they popped up. On Reddit, they popped up. Anywhere I haven't banned these little pricks, they pop up. And she said to me, so it's minority. And I said, I think so, but also you've got the snubbing of the local content creators to us and looking down the nose at us, and the club not wanting nothing to do with us, and I just don't want to be a stain on the fan base. So she said to me, so you're being a pussy? And I said, sort of. Sort of. So she's just getting in my ear about it, by the way. Yeah, she wants us to stick 2 fingers up at them. And yeah, maybe, I don't know who's right. Right, would you like Malo Gusto? So look, I think we can forget about signing Chelsea players, first and foremost. They're not selling. They've front loaded their squad for the future. And look, he's a good player, Gusto. So yeah, I don't know where I'm at the minute. I don't know. So what I'm going to do, if that's okay, is just sit on it for the international break and really try and figure out what I want to do. How about Stanisic from Bayern? He was class in the Euros. I don't know. Good suggestions, by the way, on the right back situation. I just don't have a clue who it would be, because in my mind, I'm not willing to admit defeat on Trent yet. I'm feeling like he's not going to stay, but I'm not ready to acknowledge that mentally yet. So I'm still hoping that we get the positive news on Trent, because I say this honestly again, I don't know what Trent decides to do. That's up to him. But I feel very, very confident that if he leaves, he'll regret it. And I think he might not regret it immediately, but I think when he looks back on his career, he'll regret it. I think that connection, he won't find anywhere else. The connection that he has to the club, the connection that he has to the fans, to the city, I don't think he'll be able to capture that anywhere else. I don't think the atmosphere will be the same at the Bernabeu. I just, maybe he'll feel like he'll be under the microscope a little less, but I don't think that's going to be the case either. I just think it's the wrong decision for him. I do. I really think leaving would be the wrong decision. And I hope he realises that. And I hope that's the conclusion that he comes to. Craig can't turn his back on 300k subs. Well, we're not at 300k subs yet, mate. We're at 280,316. It's just more that she wants me to leave on my terms when I leave. That's what she said to me. Like, she doesn't want me to give in because of somebody else. If she thinks I'm not loving it as much, or I don't enjoy it, or the channel's dying off, she said that's a different conversation. Or if you're doing it because you want more time with the family, that's a different conversation. But giving into lowlifes, she doesn't feel is the right reason for stopping being around Liverpool stuff. Again, as I said, I don't know. I'm a bit of a mess over it all, to be honest with you. Light said, keeping Salah and Van Dijk is a must. We cannot lose them. They're irreplaceable. Trent can have. We have Bradley, who's great potential. Still, though, I don't know. Like, in my mind, I think, why can't we have them both? You know, like we talk about having Gravenberch, right? And we say we need the extra midfielder because Gravenberch can't play 60, 65 games. Right now, we've almost got a dream situation at right back. We've got a really good local boy who has an unbelievable set of skill set. And we've got a young Connor Bradley, a hungry, energetic fullback coming through as well. We've got a brilliant situation on that right-hand side. We've got cover and we've got youth. We've got everything we need there. So, yeah, we're so well balanced over there. I'm just tired, man. I'm fucking tired of this uncertainty around the contracts. Thanks for all you've done as a manager and for Liverpool. If I was Liverpool's manager, mate, we wouldn't be top of the league right now. I promise you that. We'd probably have conceded a lot more. You could fill Anfield nearly 4 times over with the people who love your content. Yeah, that's what she said to me. Well, she didn't say exactly that, but she's like, I think I showed her the emails and stuff that have been sent in as well from people who've just been really lovely. And another reason the Trent situation irks me so much is right now the football club feels like it's in a good place. And we know as Liverpool fans that if we tied down the 3 contracts, we're nearly where we want the club to be. So we've had so many occasions in the last 10, 15 years where we've been like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And we've nearly gotten there and then we've gone away a bit. And we've won some stuff, but we haven't really capitalised on it and built on it. Right now, I feel like we're a midfielder and maybe a young defender away from having a nearly complete squad. So to have to look at the right back situation or the Virgil and Mo situation, just it feels like an avoidable step backwards when it doesn't need to be. He'll be just another player at Madrid, whereas here he'll be a legend. Yes, and again, next season when Danny Carvajal comes fit again, or the end of this season, if Trent has 1 or 2 bad games, the media will be all over him, and they'll be asking him to be dropped, and they'll be talking about Carvajal coming back in. So yeah, I agree. If he goes to Madrid, I think he's just another player, and I don't think it works well for him. I was really concerned about our club's physicality, but man, that display against Leverkusen has shown how much we've grown. Yeah, we just need to do it a bit earlier. You know, we need to try and not have to leave until the second half. Why aren't you watching Ireland versus New Zealand? Because I'm working, mate. This is my job. And, you know, I stream every night at 8:45, so... You know, this is where I want to be. Of course, I'll watch back the game, and I was watching a bit of it before I started, but, you know, 8:45 is work time. Cade, how are you, bro? Said, for every hater, there's dozens of us that are a friend. Find escape in your streams. Hope you never forget that you make a difference in our lives. Thank you, mate. And I hope you guys never forget the other way around as well, that you make a massive difference in my life. Oh, and by the way, my accountant came up trumps for me today. I can't tell you why or what it was, but she found a little tax situation for me, a little tax credit that's going to save me a lot of hassle. So, yeah, I'm feeling a lot happier about that today, actually, on the accountant finding that little glimmer of hope on the tax front, because God, I hate paying tax. Andrew Gardner, I should say, I hate paying so much tax, is what I should probably say. Don't give in, Craig, just because they aren't happy with their sad lives. Don't give up something you're good at. We all care. 280k do. I just don't understand them. That was my point. Like, I don't understand. Like, they lie about me because I banned them, and that's what this comes down to. These people are all banned from our community because they're shithouses, and then because of that, and they can't accept their own faults, they go and lie about me everywhere. Call me a cancer, the AIDS of a fan base, I'm a grifter, and everywhere. Like, they're so sad that anywhere my name comes up, they show up. And it's pathetic. And what fucking annoys me most about it is I can't give them a slap. That's what annoys me most about it. That I can't get these little arseholes and really put them in their place, for want of a better phrase, or without getting in any legal trouble, because nobody would talk about that to somebody's face, the way that these scumbags are lying about my life, my family, and me as a person. Wow. So, this coming out of Gimme Sports, say Alphonso Davies has laid down his terms and he's lining up a £240,000 a week plus a 10 million signing on bonus to go to Manchester United. I mean, to be fair, a 10 million signing on bonus doesn't sound too high. I would have thought more than that, to be honest with you, but there you go. I think it's the wrong move in his career, by the way. I do. I think if Alphonso Davies goes to Man United, I don't think he's going to be happy. because I don't think United are there yet. I think Amram will do a good job, but I think it takes a while to turn that United team and dressing room around. Scout Stewart said, they are scumbags, Craig. Karma will come to them one day, and they deserve to get slapped up for talking about your family like that. It's a disgrace. Exactly. And that's what frustrates me is I've no way of resolving it. They can do what they want. They can lie about me, belittle me with freedom and impunity. And there's nothing I can do about it because they're behind anonymity and social media companies don't give a shit. And that is what makes it all the more difficult to process because I can't fix it. And I feel useless that I can't fix it. What's a grifter? A con man. Sorry, a con man. Roron, how do I play this one? Roro Noax said, no disrespect to our previous training department, but I feel like the team are having a bit more fun in training. Well, one of the things when I found out that Arne Slot was going to become our head coach that I looked into was the training. And you start to then read back on interviews with players that have worked with him and whatnot. And they all said the training was never the same. They always mixed it up. They always kept it interesting. And they always brought fresh innovations and fresh twists on the training session. So, yeah, I think, look, again, as you said, no disrespect to the previous regime because, they did very, very well for us. But it does feel like right now the players are very happy with what they're doing day to day on the training ground, with the information they're receiving from the coaches, the adjustments they're being asked to make. It just feels like they're all happy with the new manager. And I don't want to see that destabilised. Benjamin, how are you, sir? Said, sorry I'm late. What is the thumbnail Salah reward for great form? So he was the Standard Chartered Player of the Month for October, mate. And that was confirmed today. And on top of that, this isn't to do with his great form, but it is a bonus for us, absolutely. The Egyptian national team have exempted Salah from showing up for this November international break. So he's going to be able to stay on Merseyside with his family. And obviously, I hope, spend some time maybe talking with the club about that extension. Luke Thomas said, of all of our youngsters, who are you most excited to see make it into the first team? Trey Neone for me looks like a magician on the ball. Totally agree with you on Trey Neone. He looks legit, is the word I'd use. It's probably a mixture between young Rio, who we've just brought in, Trey Neone, who was a great show from yourself, and Jayden Danns, because I really feel Jayden Danns is the real deal. And that he is going to score goals throughout his career. And a lot of them. So yeah, any of those three, I think, is a fair answer. But Trey Neone, as you've said, man, he looks so smooth, doesn't he? Arne Slot is a winner. I think we're going to win everything this season. Yes, Rich. I can get on board with that, mate. Benjamin said, good, thought it was an extension. I'm off to the zoo. See you on Saturday. If it was an extension, mate, I wouldn't be dicking about. I promise you, I would put the words, Mo, extension agreed. If that was the case, there'd be no dicking about. But yeah, it's just another Player of the Month award for Mo. And obviously, look, the big news for me today is that he's not going to be going away for November. I can't tell you, Benjamin, how excited I am about, having a fresh Mo for the festive period. Because there's no international breaks until March after this one. So Mo not having to travel, wow, that's like a huge bonus. Luke Thomas said, Dan scoring in the cup game last season was awesome. His reaction just showed it that he is the true red. Yeah, same in Young Kumas scoring a brace as well. LFC Shankly said, Mo and Costa Coffee. Costa's always first at the coffee cafe. Yeah, I wouldn't be far behind him if I was there as well. Free coffee. Oh man, I'd be all over that at training if I was there. Oisin said, I love your videos and I'm from Laois, which is near you. Oh, Oisin, I used to live in Laois. I lived in Ballylinan, which, as I'm sure you're probably aware, is just beside Athy, over the border from Kildare into Laois. So, yeah, I know it well, mate. I know Laois very well. Calvin said, if you plot the Carvajal comeback, would you put Trent on the bench then without realising it? If you're saying that Trent isn't much of a player, aren't you? Huh? What I said is, if you listen to me, mate, if Trent was to go in and be the front runner at Real Madrid and Carvajal comes back, it's only going to take 1 or 2 games before the fan base and the Madrid media start piling on Trent and calling for Carvajal to come back in. So I don't know if you've misinterpreted maybe something I've said or it came across the wrong way, but I'm not trying to say drop Trent to play Carvajal. I'm just telling you the grass isn't greener for Trent and he's going to come in for a lot of shit if he doesn't deliver every single week. And as soon as Carvajal's available, it's going to be pressure time because Carvajal's a fan favourite at Madrid as well. But, trying to put words in my mouth with a convoluted sentence that doesn't even make much sense to me, Calvin, be better. How's Kumas doing on loan at Stoke? I think he's doing okay. I haven't really kept too close an eye on him. I've been more looking at Ben Doak, to be fair, and I've been keeping an eye on Bajcetic, but I'm sure somebody in the chat watches more Stoke than I do, so I'll probably be able to give you a fair answer. Peter said, Craig, I'm very impressed by your team. Thoughts on our start and prediction for a game on Sunday? Much love. Well, I hope you could take that 8-0 victory that you got yesterday, mate, against Noah and bring that to the game against Arsenal at the weekend. So for anyone who doesn't know, Peter in the chat there is a Chelsea fan. And welcome back in, mate. Lovely to see you as always. Look, I think, it would do me a big favour as a Liverpool fan if you could beat Arsenal or get points off them. So I'm secretly going to be hoping you do, mate, at the weekend. I'm going to be, having one eye on that on Sunday and hoping that I come on then at 8:45 on Sunday night and we're 9 or 10 points clear of Arsenal. That would be an ideal weekend. But look, honestly, it must be very heartening for you that even your second team like that are going out there and doing what you should be doing in the Conference League, which is swatting teams away. Raj, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, Raj. Appreciate you. I really do. Thank you so much, mate. Thoughts on iced coffee / tea? Not for me. It's not something I drink. If I want something cold, I'm drinking Diet Coke or Fanta Lemon. So yeah, I'm not one for the iced coffee drinks. But I tell you something for free, I can't function without at least 2 or 3 cups of coffee in a day. Dave said Salah got his new contract. No, Dave. God, I wish that was the case, mate. No, if you're talking about the thumbnail, which I believe you are, Salah got the Standard Chartered Player of the Month for October, which is his second one of the season. And on top of that, there's also positive news that he hasn't been called up to the Egyptian squad for the November international break, which means we're going to have a fully rested Mo for the November-December festive period. Rock Shandy is the go. Oh, I love a bit of Rock Shandy. Yeah, Rock Shandy. So I guess I should explain Rock Shandy because I'm sure us in Ireland and the UK probably know what it is, but it's fizzy lemon and fizzy orange mixed together. And Club Rock Shandy is an Irish staple, tradition. I love it. Craig, does Trent lose his Liverpool legacy if he goes to Madrid? Partially. He's always going to be part of the team that won the league and the European Cup and everything else. So he will always have a special place. But the difference between that, I guess, and an icon is up to Trent. Gerrard stayed, he's an icon. Dalglish, icon. Salah, going to be an icon. What happens in Trent and how he's viewed for the rest of his life, that decision's up to Trent. And it's not me the only one saying this. Anybody will admit, if you leave Liverpool like that and you go off and do what you do, you'll always be respected and welcome back, but you'll never be held in the same esteem as a Steven Gerrard or a Kenny Dalglish. You just won't. Irish coffee with cream on top. Yeah, I don't like Irish coffees either, to be honest with you. Just give me a straight, the double espresso with cold milk or an Americano and I'm good. Do I meditate? Yes, I do. As part of my mindfulness and part of my work with my psychologist that I do, I do try to meditate. I sort of practice mindfulness. I need to. And that's why I love that Anfield Agenda song, by the way. Because I spend that 2 minutes kind of just centering myself before the stream, just trying to make sure that I'm relaxed and I'm in a good mood. And as I've gotten older, I find it's definitely important to take that little bit of time and just, calm and breathe and realise where I am and relax. If we win the league and Champions League, hopefully, with the current drop-off in form with other clubs, I can just feel pundits and critics saying we played in a season where there was no competition. Oh, they've already started that, bro. This whole shit about we haven't played anybody it's pathetic in itself. I'll give them that for the first 5 games. We all had this conversation. The Athletic ran a piece on it as well. Liverpool statistically did have the easiest of the 20 clubs opening 5 games of the season. But we've also, beaten United away. We've beaten Chelsea at home. We've drawn at the Emirates against Arsenal. So, at some point, the delusion around our great start to the season or the lack of enthusiasm from some of the media has to stop. Because if Arsenal were doing what we were doing, can you imagine what the headlines would be? It was, if Arsenal were now ahead of City, oh Jesus, the lads would be whacking one out on the shows and all. Like you wouldn't be able to move. You wouldn't be able to move. Gary Neville had nipple clamps on sitting at the table. He'd be so happy. But we don't get that. There's none of that around us. It's just, haven't played anyone yet, or it's not the same City. Just they always try and undermine it, but fuck them. Let them. Dupe, say you're turning 18 tomorrow. Happy birthday, my friend. Happy birthday. I really, really mean that. Happy birthday, man. And God, what I give to be that young again, mate. 18. That's God. That feels like a lifetime ago. So Mark has looked into a bit more about young Kumas, and he's been getting some 6 score ratings on SofaScore. He's had a few 7s and 8s. Got an assist in a game recently as well. So thank you, Mark, again for looking at that. Yeah, Aaron, to be fair, you're right, mate. We haven't beaten anybody above us in the table. Yeah, it's a bit hard to beat God. It's the only person above us right now. So again, I want to clear something up because I've seen a few comments in the chat and I just want to make sure that people understand where we're at. Asking about Salah being rewarded. It isn't the contract. I wouldn't hide that. If it was the contract, I'd say out front, new deal. And we hope that's the case. But no, he's being rewarded by receiving the Standard Chartered Player of the Month for October. And also, I guess, the good form that Egypt have had and the fact that I think they've already qualified for the AFCON. He's been excused from the November international period as well. So he gets the Player of the Month award for October, and congratulations to him on that. His second one of the season. And he doesn't have to go away with the international team. So everybody gets rewarded for that one. So that's what the title of the stream is about. And I made that clear at the start very quickly, by the way, just in case you're going to accuse me of clickbaiting or anything, because trust me, if I had information on the contract, that would be on the thumbnail very, very quickly. Dave said, read a stat today that Arna's never lost 2 league games in a row. Wow, that's nuts. There was a stat going around yesterday, actually, that we spoke about, that the Premier League put out. Let me just read it out to you, in case you weren't with us yesterday. So, this posted on the Premier League's Twitter account. They say, Liverpool head coach Arne Slot becomes the first Premier League boss to win 14 of his first 16 matches in charge. But do you know what's mad about this list? Of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, of the 8 names on this list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are Chelsea managers. So Arne Slot tops the list with 14 wins in his first 16 matches. Then came Carlo Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho with 13 wins. Antonio Conte, John Gregory of Aston Villa, Maurizio Sarri and Avram Grant, all with 12 wins. And Unai Emery at Arsenal also had 12 wins from his first 16. AD said, that's good, he can finally get a rest. It's brilliant news, mate, isn't it? And not just that, maybe it gives him a little bit of free time to negotiate. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit of positive news around this international break, because it feels like this could be the right time for the club to sit down, that they might have a day or two they could box off here to sort this out. I certainly hope that's the case. Any update on Ibu's contract? We heard they were close weeks ago. I've not got anything that I'm aware of. Look, I do think it's going to be done. You know, you've had positive updates from Fabrizio Romano and I believe others. And I don't see that there's going to be any problem with that. I think obviously we got Trainioni signed his first pro contract. I think there was a new deal as well for Jarell Kwanzaa, if I remember correctly. And yes, Ibrahim Konate is one. It's certainly been spoken about as one that should be soon, but I don't know that it's been done or not. So, I'm not going to be the one to break that story. So Ian Rush came back. Is he an icon? Yes, I would say so. Now look, there's nothing to say Trent doesn't come back. And as you've rightly said, mate, if Trent left, came back, finished his career at Liverpool, I think it's a different conversation then. I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, let's say he went and he came back in 3 years' time or 4 years' time when he was 28, 29, and he played for Liverpool till he was 32, 33, 34. Yeah, I would say that puts him straight back into icon territory. But what would be hard to stomach is the club going full Paul Pogba here and having to pay a substantial transfer fee for a player that they lost for nothing. That would suck. And that would be a tough pill to swallow, to be fair. If Liverpool had to buy him back for a significant fee after maybe losing him for free. But outside of that, yeah, your point is absolutely fair. Trent staying confirmed. Is it though? Is it? I mean, if it was, happy days. But nobody has any news on that I'm aware of. God, I wish that was the case though. And again, if you think that is the case, please do let us know where you're seeing this, because one thing we don't like on here, mate, is people lying to their fellow fans. So I hope that's the case. I'd love you to be right, but I don't believe it is at this moment. But again, you know, we still don't know what the situation is, and I very much would like you to be right. Do you remember Steve Finnan? Mate, I'm Irish. Of course I remember Stevie Finnan. Brought him in from Fulham. Great fullback. Great fullback. I always looked at Steve Finnan like Dennis Irwin. So United had Mr. Consistency in Dennis Irwin. We had our right back consistency, obviously on the other flank, because Irwin played at left back more often than not. We had Steve Finnan, and a very, 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 very good player. We bought Rush back for less than we sold him. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case for Trent. You know, unless maybe he signed a 4-year deal at Madrid or a 3-year deal at Madrid, and then we got him back on a free or something. Maybe that's a different conversation. But Frozen said, only thing for sure, Trent will be staying in his bed at the moment. Keith said, only in, sorry, and the good news on the contracts. Don't have anything on the contracts, Keith, mate. Unfortunately, I don't. The most stuff was that he won Standard Chartered Player of the Month and he was rewarded for his great form. But no, I've got nothing new on the contracts. I really hope Zubimendi changes his mind. Me too. But I've got to be honest as well and say I don't know that he has. Every time I speak with David Lynch about Zubimendi on camera, we always have the conversation of if he changed his mind, the club would still be open to it. And I always get I always get the feeling that he's very optimistic on the Zubimendi thing. And I don't know if that's because Zubimendi hasn't signed a new deal or improved terms or anything at Sociedad, and he hasn't said anything to me, by the way, to suggest that he knows something that he's not saying, but it just feels to me like he's very optimistic on the Zubimendi situation. And I don't know if that's the fan in him who's hopeful or the journalist in him that might have an inkling that maybe there is something. I don't know what that is, and I don't want to put words in his mouth. But I always do feel like he's optimistic in that regard when we speak. Karen, how are you, Karen? Karen Morris said, Tchouaméni or Zubimendi, which one the happier with? Zubimendi, because I think he's a better fit. Love Tchouaméni under Jurgen. And look, if Arne said I want Arlene Tchouaméni and we signed him, no problem whatsoever. Whatever the manager wants, that's all I want as a fan. I want the manager to get the player he thinks will be a good fit or a good addition to the team. If that's Tchouaméni, if that's Baleba, if that's Zubimendi, if that's Ederson, I'm fine with it. I just want that extra midfielder because I think it's gonna be needed over the course of a long season. You should ask him. I probably should. So I'm going to be honest with you, right? When I start working with David Lynch, there was two things on my mind. One, I'm delighted because you don't know this, but we've had opportunities to get journalists on a lot over the years, but we've always had our own wish list. And David Lynch has been top of our wish list. Genuinely, the number one for us. And we tried to get David Lynch last season, but he was committed and he was busy doing other stuff and we couldn't do it. This season, David had availability, so we very quickly went to go, well, look, we'd love to have you on the channel, mate. We'd love to do videos with you. So one thing I promised myself when David came to do some work with us was that I'm never going to put him in an awkward position. I'm never going to put him in a position where he has to, be uncomfortable about speaking about the owners or anything like that. Because I want my interviews and my videos with David Lynch to serve as a vehicle to show people who think that we just scream and shout that they've got Anfield Agenda wrong and they've got what we're about wrong. That yes, we can do higher brow stuff. We can do more reasonable conversations. But on a match day, the switch goes off in me and I'm a lunatic. And I'm like that at home and I'm like that watching Liverpool full stop. So it's important to me to show the club, other content creators and the Liverpool fan base that yes, maybe sometimes you see me being a nut job or loudmouth, but I have another side. I can do the other stuff. The channel can do the other stuff and we can do it well. And that's what I want to try and do with David, to show that yes, we can be more measured, more articulate, make higher brow content. And I think we're doing that. Because the comments on the videos have always been really nice. And they're one of the few sets of comments that I always do read. Dave said you're the most interactive content creator. That's no accident. It's by necessity. I've always said it. I couldn't do what others do. So, not to throw any names around, but other content creators are able to come on and speak for an hour, maybe barely interacting. I need you to bounce off because I don't have enough interesting shit to say. So I need to chat and I love it. Like, remember, Dave, I came to YouTube cold. So I wasn't somebody that watched much of it or, seen fan content. I came in and I'd no idea what a fan channel did. I'd seen clips of Goldbridge, I'd seen clips of AFTV, I'd seen a bit of True Geordie or other people, but I didn't know what the fuck I was supposed to do. So when I came in, I just started replying to people and just chatting because that's what felt like a natural thing to do. And then over the years, people have gone, oh my God, he actually responds. And I was kind of taken aback on, doesn't everybody? And I love doing live content. That's the reason why we do so many live shows, is because you never know what's going to happen next. And I love that uncertainty, and I love the interactive nature of what we do, because community is important to me. This wasn't about building a business for me or my family. This was about building a collective, a community of Liverpool fans from all different parts of the world, with all different levels of knowledge and interest in the club, but to know that they're welcome in, their opinion matters to us, and it's valued the same as anybody else's. So that's why I don't only read super chats, or why we don't turn the chat onto or go beyond the paywall around. I want everyone to have a chance to have their say. And yes, super chats will always take a priority, because of course people are spending their money and they need to be acknowledged for that. But man, I love chatting with you all. I love it so much. I love learning about your lives. I love learning about your day to day. I love knowing when it's a special occasion in your life, or if you're a new viewer, or where you're watching. It genuinely fills my heart with so much happiness to know that we play a small little part in your day-to-day lives, because you play a massive part in my day-to-day life, and that's what makes our community different to me. I love it all. I love it. Which is why I get so hurt when I see the shitty stuff, because I don't have a high opinion of myself. So, you know, when you see stuff and you think bad of yourself, and you see other people belittling you, I take that as, what's the word I'm looking for? I think, oh yeah, see, they're right. You are an asshole. You're a fraud. You don't deserve to be here. So I might have a month of really good stuff, and then one shitty day where people are horrible, and I take it to heart, and it hurts, and it confused me, because I'm not a thin-skinned person. I amn't. But I care what people think of me, because I want to leave a mark on our fan base, but a positive one. So, just wanted to thank you for all the work you put in. I've struggled with mental health a bit recently. Listening to you always helps, though. Thank you. I look, this is my time to switch off, you know, and have fun with people. And sometimes I come on and yeah, I'm a bit negative, or I'm a bit, but this is the part of the day I love, you know, and there's a reason why everyone keeps saying to me, an hour, your stream should be an hour and then end them. But I enjoy it. I love, but we're an hour 45 here now, and I've loved every minute of it. David Lynch, Lee Gunner, more to come. Yes, I can't wait to start the new show with Lee Gunner. So at the moment, by the way, just to give you a heads up on what we're doing about that show, I'm just sorting out the back end stuff on YouTube at the minute, making sure that everything's ready to go. And the plan is that maybe the last week of November or the start of December, myself and Lee are going to start putting out 2 live streams a week on the Red Mist podcast. The podcast that isn't the podcast is what I'm going to call it. And I'm really excited about that. I've been speaking with Lee in the background, trying to figure stuff out around that as well. And I can't wait. I cannot wait to talk with Lee every week, twice a week about footy. It's going to be fun. Sean said, to be honest, I watch you for your passionate reactions. I love it when you howl like a wolf when we score. That's my Ric Flair whoo, by the way. The whoo! That's my little homage to Ric Flair. Raider Rabbit said, Craig, apart from the trolls and haters, if genuine fans here and appreciate your content, thank you. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Would be great to see Craig talking to Alice Talks Football. Could be very interesting. Alice is a great content creator. I've said this before. I don't know Alice. I've never had interactions with Alice, but I've seen her videos. There was one video I didn't like, to be honest with you, and that was speaking about non-football stuff and messages and stuff. That I would say stay away from if I could advise. But great content creator, very good insight. And look, I hope to bring her onto the Red Mist podcast if she'd be up to come on for a chat with me and Lee. I'd love to have her on as a regular guest, or as part of a panel of guests who comes around, because I think she's brilliant. I think she's a great content creator. I just don't know Alice, so I've no way of making that connection, but definitely a fan of her work. James Alcott, another person I'm a fan of, a great content creator. Always learn a lot from watching James's videos. Obviously the Irish guy, big fan of Michael Ramsey as well. Proud to be able to call him a mate. Yeah, there's loads. There's probably a few others that we're going to bring on for videos. We're going to do one live stream a week where it's just me and Lee, and then we're going to do another live stream every week where it's me and Lee and a guest. Again with Lawrence McKenna, I don't know Lawrence. I've met Lawrence. I've spoke to him once, very briefly, a fair few years ago, and it was just a brief, hi, how are you, Lawrence? Like what you do. It was at the launch of La Liga TV in London, and other than that, I don't know Lawrence. I've never had any other interaction with him. Roranok said, I'd never forget your reaction to her comeback against Newcastle. Darwin, who knows? If we get Zubimendi, where will he play? Will he play alongside Grav or Maka? So, the way I envision it, and of course, I'm just guessing, is that maybe sometimes he'll play alongside, and then other times maybe he'll be to rotate. So, let's say we went away to play the Etihad, or we go away in Europe to play somebody in the knockout stages, then maybe Arne feels like we need to be a little bit less attack-minded, and maybe we play with two deeper-lying midfielders. So then maybe Zubimendi would come in there in that scenario. Or, of course, Ryan Gravenberch needs a rester to be rotated. So I would say you'd get the minutes, regardless of whether it's as part of a different balanced midfield or as a rotation. Having some of the devil's lettuce while watching the stream. Well, Scout Stewart, I will be preparing my own herbal infusion later on. It's a little bit too early. I've got to grab a shower and get some food first. But other than that, mate, I will be partaking myself. So look, ladies and gents, Don Hussam, look, I've said this before. I'm open to working with anybody. I don't close the door on anything. I don't know Hussam personally. I know Lee does, so again, I don't imagine it will be an issue. Everybody is welcome to come on with us for a chat. The door's not closed for anybody, except, him, he who shall not be named. So look, I'm going to say goodnight to you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Might start probably 6:45 tomorrow for the watch along for the Aston Villa game. Match reaction, player ratings, all the usual stuff as well. So yeah, appreciate you guys. See you tomorrow. And don't forget about the live show. If you want to get your tickets, next week, we're going to be in Liverpool this night next week. Can't wait to come over and see everyone. So yes, appreciate you. Have a good one, my friends. And if I don't see you tomorrow, enjoy your weekends. Much love. Bye-bye.